Welcome, wanderer. Wherever you are, whatever time the stars tell, you've arrived at the quiet edge of thought, where the mind loosens its grip and begins to drift, gently and silently, into the slow stream of forgetting. Let us walk together, not in search of answers, but in reverent curiosity, to explore the places where your memories once lived. Close your eyes, if they're not closed already. Let your body rest, wherever it is, and breathe as though you were sighing through time. Because tonight we wonder together. Where do forgotten memories go? Not the ones we push away in pain, but the gentle ones, the ones that simply faded. There are memories we hold like old photographs, faded at the corners, still warm with meaning. But there are others we cannot reach. A name, a smell, a moment, once real, now adrift. They are not erased, not entirely. They have not vanished. They have only withdrawn. Like stars swallowed by morning light, they exist still, somewhere beneath the waking mind. The process has a name: transience, one of the mind's gentle mechanisms, the natural fading of memory over time. Not failure, not loss, just a soft letting go. Your brain, this glowing cathedral of thought, holds trillions of synaptic connections. Like fireflies dancing in a forest at night, they flash, connect, reshape, and dim. When you experience something new, neurons fire together, and in that union, a memory begins. But to remain, it must be revisited, touched again, spoken of, dreamed, recalled in silence. If not, if the memory lies untouched in time's garden, the paths to it overgrow. The fireflies no longer light its way. And so the memory doesn't disappear, it simply dims, stored somewhere in the deeper folds of your mind, not lost, just sleeping. Deep within your brain, there rests a quiet structure, the hippocampus. Its name, derived from the seahorse it resembles, drifts like a metaphor in this ocean of mind. It is here that memories form, here that they are shaped, catalogued, and passed onward. But the hippocampus, for all its beauty, is not eternal. It works like a storyteller by the campfire, gathering moments in the dark, retelling the important ones, and letting the rest fall into silence. When days go by and a moment is never summoned again, the hippocampus may sigh softly and let it go.
It is not punishment. It is grace. It is space for the new. Imagine if you remembered everything. Every cough, every blink, every footstep, every number you've ever seen. The exact weight of a spoon in your hand 5 years ago. The mind would drown. So it forgets. It prunes the garden. It lets petals fall. This forgetting, this gentle decay, is the mercy of memory. It gives you space to dream again. Like the moon waxes and wanes, memories ebb to protect you. Only what's meaningful is meant to remain. And even meaning changes, doesn't it? So the mind, always tender, adjusts its shelves, moves old volumes into the shadows, dusts soft new ones to place in the light. And yet, some memories never fully vanish. You may not recall the moment, but your body does. Have you ever entered a room and felt uneasy without knowing why? Or caught the scent of a flower and suddenly felt safe without remembering the garden? These are implicit memories, not seen, not named, but carried. Emotional shadows, beneath words, beyond thought. They live in muscle and marrow, in breath and heartbeat. You may forget the moment, but your being remembers. So, tonight, as you drift further, know this. You are not empty even when you forget. You are not broken even when the names fade. You are simply changing, evolving, making space for now. Memories, like tides, withdraw, but they leave behind shells, tiny traces of what once was. Let those traces stay soft. Don't chase them. Don't strain. Let forgetting be a gentle friend. And as your thoughts grow quiet, as your body melts into stillness, know that the mind is still listening, still holding, still carrying echoes of every step you've taken. You are the sea and the ship and the forgotten harbor. You're still here, drifting now, deeper than before, your thoughts like feathers floating on a quiet, moonlit pond. Let your breath fall slowly. Let your mind wander as it will, because in this part of the journey, we visit a hidden garden, a secret place where not all memories are forgotten by time, but hidden by intention. Here lie the memories you couldn't bear to keep, but never truly let go of. Some memories do not fade with age. They are not lost in the passing seasons. Instead, they are tucked away, carefully, quietly, folded into the deeper fabrics of the mind.
This is repression, the softest armor the brain can wear. It is not erasure, it is protection. It is your mind, wise and watchful, choosing what to show you and what to shield. Like a parent turning your head from the storm, your mind sometimes says, "Not now. Not yet. Not until you are ready." And sometimes, maybe never. The idea of repression stretches far into the past. Sigmund Freud, the quiet father of psychoanalysis, first described the unconscious as a locked room beneath the waking self. He believed that some memories, especially painful ones, were stored out of reach, but not out of influence. They whisper through dreams. They speak in habits. They echo in our fears and longings without ever stepping into the light. But here, in this garden of shadows, we can walk gently. No unlocking, no digging, only wondering. What is kept in silence? And what does silence keep? Just near the hippocampus, close enough to touch, sleeps a small almond-shaped guardian, the amygdala. It doesn't store memories like a librarian. It guards them like a sentry, especially the ones tinged with fear, with sorrow, with danger. When something is too much, too sudden, too sharp, too overwhelming, the amygdala marks it. It may strengthen the memory, or it may help bury it. Repressed memories are not erased. They are encoded, emotionally, somatically, woven into the body, not the story. And that is why, sometimes, you can feel something is wrong without knowing why. The memory is there, but sealed beneath sensations. This garden we speak of is not haunted. It is not cruel. It is not a punishment to forget what once hurt. Trauma, in all its forms, shapes the mind gently, but deeply. It does not always leave scars on the surface. Sometimes it plants seeds in the dark, which sprout in dreams, in the quiet way you flinch at a sound or walk around a place you once knew.
There is no need to uproot them tonight. No need to dig for truth. This is not a search. This is a soft walk through the unspoken. You are safe. You are whole, even with the forgotten still curled inside you. Have you ever woken from a dream that felt too real? A place you didn't remember knowing? A face with no name but filled with feeling? Sometimes the mind speaks in symbols. When words cannot bear the truth, the brain whispers in metaphor. A locked door, an endless hallway, an ocean that pulls at your feet. These may be the voices of memory gently testing the water, seeing if now is the time. You don't have to understand them. You don't have to chase them. Just notice. Because the dreaming brain does not lie. It only speaks in a language older than thought. Sometimes we imagine that healing means remembering, that peace comes from uncovering everything that ever broke us. But not all wounds are meant to be reopened. Not all silences need to be filled. There is wisdom in restraint, in letting certain memories remain unopened letters in the mailbox of the soul. You can grow without retracing every step.
You can heal without naming every hurt. Your mind knows this. It has known since the beginning, and so it represses with love, not to deceive you, but to keep you soft. Even in the quiet garden of repressed thought, there is life. New memories form. New connections grow. The grain, always reshaping itself, can build new paths even around forgotten ones. This is the grace of neuroplasticity, your mind's lifelong ability to adapt, to change, to renew. You are not the same person you were when the memory was made. And so, you do not need to become her again to move forward. Let the old paths stay wild. Plant new flowers. Follow light. Tonight, as you drift in this hidden garden, know that your brain has been your silent guardian. It chose what to keep. It chose what to soften. It chose when to let you feel. Not out of fear, out of deep, evolutionary care. You may not remember everything, but everything has shaped you. Even the quiet, even the locked doors. So breathe now, and trust the forgetting. You are whole, even with the pieces missing. You are here, and that is enough. You are still drifting, further now, through velvet corridors of thought, where words grow faint and only sensations remain. Let your breath fall softly again, as though the world were exhaling through you. Let your body rest like an unopened letter, still and waiting. Because tonight we arrive at a quieter place still, beneath memory, beneath language, where your body keeps what your mind has let go. Not with images, not with stories, but with rhythm, with tension, with touch. Not all memory is spoken. Not all remembrance is conscious. There is a kind of memory that never passes through thought, a shadow that lies beneath awareness. This is called implicit memory, and it is older than language, deeper than storytelling. It is not what you know, but what you are. The way your shoulders lift at a sudden voice, the way your breath shortens at a certain smell. These are echoes, whispers of moments long gone, still present in posture, in heartbeat, in breath. Your skin, your muscles, your very bones, they remember. Like paper that holds the trace of an old folded crease, your body carries what the mind has let slip. The cells do not recall the story, but they recall the feeling. Safety, fear, warmth, loss. And though you may forget the afternoon when you first felt afraid, your body does not. It doesn't replay the scene. It doesn't ask questions. It simply tightens, holds, protects. It remembers, so you don't have to. Flowing from your brainstem, weaving through the heart, the lungs, the gut, runs the vagus nerve, a quiet river of emotion that ties your body to your mind. It listens. It responds. It carries feelings without asking for words. When something once frightened you, your vagus nerve took note. It taught your heartbeat to race, your breath to quicken, your stomach to clench. And now, even years later, a sound, a scent, a place can wake that pattern without you ever knowing why. It is not irrational. It is remembered. The body speaks in feelings long before the mind forms thoughts. Sometimes you may feel a sudden heaviness without cause, a quiet tension, a need to step back though nothing seems wrong. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? But nothing is wrong. You are remembering without knowing. You are responding from a place beyond thought. And that is not a flaw. It is a miracle of protection, a sign that your body has been listening always. So when your chest feels tight, or your hands tremble, or your jaw clenches without reason, whisper gently to yourself, I am remembering something I cannot name. That is enough. Sometimes the past returns not in vision, but in sensation. A cool breeze on the neck brings a wave of emotion. The softness of a blanket pulls tears from your eyes. A certain song makes your heart ache without knowing why. This is the language of the implicit self. Sensation speaks where memory fails. It doesn't need to form pictures. It doesn't ask for stories. It just wants you to feel, to notice, to soften, to listen. And what does the body ask for in return? Not understanding, not fixing, only presence. When you bring your awareness to the tension, to the breath, to the held places, the echo can settle. Not vanish, not be erased.
Just soften. This is how healing begins. Not by chasing memory, but by making space for the body to speak. By resting in the quiet. By holding the ache like an old friend. You don't have to solve it. You only have to feel it and let it pass, like wind through open curtains. So, if you've ever wondered why you flinch, why you freeze, why you pull away from something that seems harmless, know this: you are not broken. You are remembered. Your body is a sacred library of everything you've lived through, even what your mind forgot. And those memories aren't here to harm you. They're here to teach you that you are still whole, even when you tremble, even when you don't know why, especially then. So, now, as your body grows heavy, as your thoughts drift like soft snow, rest in this truth. You carry no story you cannot bear. Even the forgotten ones. Even the ones without names. They live within you, yes. But so does strength. So does softness. So does peace. Let your body speak in its quiet rhythms. Let your heartbeat slow. You are not remembering wrongly. You are simply listening at a deeper frequency. The frequency of being. of becoming, of rest. Breathe now, and let your body remember for you. You are still here, floating in the dim glow of the inner world, the world behind your eyes, the one that doesn't need clocks or calendars, where time folds, where logic bends, where the impossible becomes gentle. Welcome to the dream space, the place where memories take on shapes of their own, not as they were, but as they wish to be seen. The subconscious speaks here, not in words, but in whispers, in symbols, in shifting stories woven in the dark. As you drift into sleep, your conscious mind softens, like a lantern dimming at dusk. And behind it, the dreaming brain awakens, painting vast landscapes from pieces of your day, your fears, your longings, and yes, your forgotten memories. This is not random. It is not noise. Your brain is building a stage of symbols, a quiet theater where buried emotions can speak in metaphor. A hallway with no end, a familiar house with new doors, a voice calling your name, but in a language you've never heard. These are not puzzles to solve. They are feelings in costume. Let them dance.
Your subconscious is not a dark place. It is a deep one. It holds everything that once mattered, but slipped below the surface. And when it needs to speak, it chooses the softest language. Images, symbols, repetition. You may not dream of the moment itself, but you may dream of falling again and again. You may dream of searching, never quite finding. You may dream of waves rising, but never crashing. These dreams are not warnings. They are releases. The mind breathing out what it could not say by day. Carl Jung, the old dream walker, once said that dreams are the private myths of the mind. He believed we are born with an inner library of symbols, the collective unconscious, shared images, universal themes, the shadow, the child, the mirror, the labyrinth. When you dream, your mind draws from this silent library, not to confuse you, but to comfort you. Because even the forgotten can find a voice through the symbols we all share. You do not need to interpret them perfectly. You only need to feel their presence, to let them pass by you like lanterns in a river. Sometimes, a dream comes back, again and again, not as punishment, but as persistence, a gentle knocking from a closed room in your mind. Perhaps it is a place you never lived in, but feels familiar. Or a face without a name that still stirs your chest. These are echoes, traces of memories, long buried or transformed. Your mind may not give them to you all at once. It may simply offer them in small loops, subtle invitations to look again, gently. Not to solve, but to hold, to listen. Not all dreams reveal. Some simply release. They let out what the mind has no place to store. A restless night may be the soul's way of finally breathing. A surreal dream may be the body's way of letting go. You may wake with no memory of it, but still feel lighter, softer, unburdened. That too is memory at work. Memory not recalled, but processed. There is healing, even in the dreams you forget. Especially there. Have you ever noticed that just before sleep, your mind begins to shimmer?
Sounds stretch. Thoughts slip sideways. Images rise like fog. This is the hypnagogic state, a twilight shore between waking and dreaming. Here, the subconscious is closest to the surface. It may whisper a phrase, show a strange scene, let a long-forgotten voice speak your name. Don't reach for it. Don't grasp. Let it pass through you like a breeze through open windows. This is the moment when forgotten memories tiptoe out to be seen. Just for a breath, just long enough to be known. Sometimes, after a dream, you'll feel a longing for something you cannot name. A missing place, a lost self. But let go of the need to trace every thread. You do not need to remember everything to be whole. Your dreams are not maps. They are waves. And you are not the sailor. You are the sea. Let the tide come and go. Let the symbols rise and fall. They belong to you, but you do not need to hold them tightly. You are not what you recall. You are what remains even when all else is forgotten. So tonight, when sleep carries you inward, do not ask your dreams to make sense. Let them unfold. Let them flicker. Let them pass. The forgotten memories will speak to you if they must, and if not, they will still keep you company from the quiet corners of the mind. Float now. Feel the hush rise around you. Your body heavy, your thoughts slow. And when the dream comes, as it always does, listen not for answers, but for rhythm. Your mind is not empty. It is a vast forest of symbols. And even what's forgotten still blooms beneath the moon. The silent depths of the mind. A calming sleep story by the Wandering Neuron. Somewhere deep beneath the humming corridors of your conscious mind lies a secret library, unmarked, unlit, and unseen. But not unlived. It's a place no lantern reaches, a vault behind velvet curtains of the soul, where not even your thoughts can knock, unless the mind itself decides to open the door.
This is the chamber of repressed memory. Not simply forgotten, but hidden, tucked away with great care, because once it hurt to hold.
A memory too heavy to carry. There are moments, perhaps from long ago, perhaps from yesterday, that arrive at the doorstep of your awareness holding pain, confusion, or fear. And when the weight is too much, the mind performs a quiet miracle. It tucks them away, out of reach, out of harm's way. This is not weakness, it is protection, a deep and ancient instinct of the brain to shelter itself like a seed under winter snow. It doesn't erase, it simply wraps the moment in quiet cloth and stores it on a shelf only the subconscious can read. The science behind the soft disappearance. Modern neuroscience calls it repression. The amygdala, your emotion center, and the hippocampus, your memory architect, are known to whisper back and forth in times of stress. If what's remembered is too intense, the amygdala raises its voice, and the brain, like a librarian sensing a storm, chooses not to shelve that book near the front. Instead, it's sealed, archived in the vault. Neuroimaging shows these memories still activate deep inner regions, especially the right hemisphere, where imagery and emotion swirl. They are not gone, they are simply sleeping. Why some memories vanish without a sound? Sometimes we ask ourselves, why can't I remember that part of my childhood? Or, why do I feel so much when I smell that perfume but can't trace it to anything real? These are soft echoes from the hidden shelves. Repression does not always come from trauma. It can also come from confusion, moments we couldn't understand at the time. Children especially do this, tucking away events that had no explanation, no emotional vocabulary yet. The mind, like a loving parent, says gently, "You don't need to carry this right now," and the book is closed. Dreams, the pages whispering open. And yet, sometimes these locked-away memories rustle their pages while we sleep. Dreams are the quiet librarians of the night. When the conscious mind dims, the vault can creak open. A feeling slips through, a symbol, a shadow with familiar hands. You may wake and wonder, why did I feel like I was 8 years old again? Why did I cry over something that never happened? But something did happen, and your brain remembers it, in a language made of sensation, not sentence. The physiology of repression. Underneath the poetic veil, there's a map of molecules guiding this gentle forgetting. Cortisol, the stress hormone, can dampen hippocampal activity during trauma, making memory formation fragmentary or incomplete. The prefrontal cortex, your rational reasoning guide, steps back, letting the emotional brain take the wheel. This is why some repressed memories feel like foggy sensations or body memories. They exist in the nervous system as much as they do in the brain. They are written not in paragraphs, but in pulse, breath, and tight shoulders. When the mind is ready, time doesn't always unseal these vaults, but sometimes, with healing, safety, and softness, the mind reopens the door on its own. A scent, a place, a voice that reminds you of something nameless, and the book floats back down into your hands. It may not return fully, not word for word, but in tone, texture, and feeling. The goal isn't always to remember everything. Sometimes it's simply to feel safe enough to say, "I'm okay now,"
I can hold this. Therapy as a lantern. In the waking world, therapy is the practice of bringing a lantern into this hidden library, gently, slowly. It does not force the shelves to open. It waits. It listens. And when a memory rises, it offers warmth, not interrogation. The body sighs. The breath deepens. And the story can be rewritten. This time with comfort, with context. This is not just science. It's reweaving, a kind of quiet inner gardening. The compassion of forgetting. If your mind has hidden something from you, know that it did so with love. Not because you were weak, but because, in that moment, you deserved gentleness over clarity. The vault is not your enemy. It is your inner guardian, and when it opens, it will be because you are ready, not because you were broken. As you drift now into your own inner hallways, know that the mind remembers in many ways, and even in silence, you are whole. The shadows in your dreams are not there to scare you. They are simply trying to return home. And so we return again, not to the roar of thought, but to the hush between feelings, to the memories that once pulsed with life and color, now muted, faint, like the scent of jasmine that clings to a summer night, like the last warmth in a teacup after the drink is gone. We forget not because we are broken, but because we are alive. And in being alive, we are always shifting, flowing, becoming something new, carrying only what the soul still needs to carry. Have you ever sat beneath the sky and tried to recall a day that once meant everything, only to find it soft at the edges? The conversation's still there, but who spoke? The joy still lingering, but whose laughter? This is the gentle discoloration of experience, a natural tide, a soft shedding. Not all forgetting is loss. Some is simply the body returning to balance, the heart letting go of what no longer stirs its strings, the mind conserving space for what matters now. Imagine your memories as flowers pressed between the pages of a great book. Some stay vivid, crisp, and fragrant. Others fade until they are but shadows of petals, ghosts of fragrance, the echo of a color. Neuroscientists call this process memory decay. But here, in the hush of your resting mind, it is more like a quiet exhale, the self releasing an old breath it no longer needs to hold. Even emotions, strong as they are, begin to weather with time. The heartbreak that once seemed endless, it becomes a poem instead of a wound. The triumph that once lifted you into the clouds, it becomes a warm hum in the chest. And what of those memories you do not choose to forget, but that still slip away? They do not vanish into nothing. They dissolve into the emotional palette of your life, tinting your actions, your hesitations, your kindnesses, your fears. Like wind reshaping sand, time reshapes memory, but the terrain it leaves behind still bears the history of the breeze. Think of an old song you once loved. You might forget the lyrics, the name of the artist, even the year it was released, but the way it made you feel, that might still wash over you, as clear and soft as moonlight across your face. We do not forget completely. We transform the vivid into the atmospheric, the personal into the universal, the sharp
into the soft. And in doing so, we become lighter, not empty, but open. It is a gift of the mind to slowly let go of what no longer holds us, to let time massage the rawness from an experience until it no longer hurts to hold it, or no longer needs to be held at all. Now, let's drift deeper. Imagine standing in a gallery of faded paintings, each one a memory once vibrant, now mellowed by years and dreams. Some are still bright in places, a red scarf, a spark of sunlight, the corner of a smile. But others are nearly abstract, emotions without events, colors without context. And yet, as you stand there in that quiet room of the self, you feel their warmth. You recognize their outlines. You do not need every detail to remember their truth. Because remembering is not always about seeing. Sometimes it is simply about feeling. And even faded feelings are real. You might forget the exact words someone said, but the comfort of their presence may linger. You might lose the name of a place, but the way the air smelled there, it might return in a dream.
So what happens to emotions as they fade? They move from the surface to the soul, from the conscious to the undercurrent, from something you grasp to something that simply is. We carry the residue of emotion long after the moment has dissolved. This residue becomes instinct. It becomes intuition. It becomes the quiet language of the subconscious. Sometimes, a forgotten sadness makes you pause at a sunset, or an old joy makes your eyes water when you hear a stranger's laughter. You don't know why, but you feel, and that is enough. The brain does not forget in cruelty. It forgets in mercy, in service to our survival, in service to our sleep. Just as a tree lets go of leaves that are no longer needed, we let go of memories whose time has passed. Not because they were meaningless, but because they fulfilled their purpose. They gave us the lesson, the feeling, the direction, the change, and then they became something softer. This softness is not failure. It is maturity. It is grace. It is the quiet wisdom of the subconscious, saying, "It's time to rest now. You've carried this long enough." So let us rest with it, float within it. Let the edges blur. Let the emotions become whispers. You are safe to forget. You are safe to feel. You are safe to sleep. The mind, even in forgetting, is always loving you, always gently brushing away the cluttered dust, leaving room for new wonder. And as we breathe in that wonder, as we float deeper into the stillness of thought, we honor all that was and all that softly fades away. Let us imagine your mind as a garden. Not a rigid plot with fences and weeds, but a lush, flowering expanse. A garden with vines of thought, blossoms of memory, and pathways of wonder shaded beneath canopies of ancient neural trees. Each thought you've ever had,
Each whisper of experience that passed through your senses arrived as a seed. Some grew tall, reaching toward the sun. Others, shaded by larger ideas or caught beneath emotional storms, struggled to grow. Their roots shallow, their leaves curled. And some were gently carried away on the wind of forgetting. This natural weeding, this soft tending of our internal garden is what science calls synaptic pruning, a quiet, essential rhythm in the life of your mind. It is not an error. It is not loss. It is care. Let us lie back now within this metaphorical garden and explore how the mind forgets. Not through violence or failure, but through the same natural cycles that cause petals to fall, leaves to turn, and roots to rest beneath the soil.
In the early years of life, your brain was a dense forest. In that forest, every path was possible. Neurons fired with almost reckless frequency, forming trillions of synapses, tiny bridges of communication between cells. This was a time of chaos and bloom, when the garden of the mind was overgrown with potential. A baby, staring wide-eyed at the light shifting on a wall, isn't just watching, they are building. Every flicker of light, every mother's touch, every sound in the air is wiring their mind with possibility. But such a garden cannot sustain itself. Too many plants compete for sun, too many paths become tangled. Without guidance, without pruning, it becomes noise. And so the brain begins its gentle work. It trims. The pruning begins. Around the age of 3, and again in adolescence, your brain initiates large-scale synaptic pruning. Like a skilled gardener walking barefoot through a field of thought, it asks, which of these pathways do we use? Which roots run deep with experience? Which flowers are fading in the dusk? Unused connections, those not strengthened by repetition, emotion, or attention, are allowed to fall away. You may forget the exact layout of your childhood home, or the name of a classmate who once sat beside you, but these are not painful losses. They are the mulch of memory, feeding deeper roots, making space for new seeds. In this way, the mind remains flexible, light. Imagine now, you are a gardener yourself, walking through that early forest of your memories. You brush your fingers along the mossy bark of a forgotten day. You pause by a clearing where laughter once bloomed. You see, too, places where paths once were, now softened by time, grown over by peace. Forgetting is not destruction. It is rebalance. If you could recall every detail, every glance, every word, every mundane moment, your consciousness would drown beneath the weight. So the mind forgets on purpose. It does so by evaluating relevance. If a piece of information is used often, emotionally significant, or tied to your survival, it will be retained. If not, the brain gently releases it, like exhaling after holding a breath too long. This forgetting can happen in stages. First, through decay, where the synaptic strength simply fades. Then, through interference, where new memories overwrite the old. And finally, through retrieval failure, where the memory still exists, buried, but you can no longer find the path to it. Imagine your memories now as stars in a night sky. Some burn bright, names of loved ones, moments of sorrow, places of deep learning. Others fade behind clouds, no longer needed, yet still part of the constellations that shaped your life. The emotional gardener. There is one gardener in the brain who plays a curious role in forgetting. Its name is the amygdala. You may know it as the seat of emotion, but it also directs the intensity of memory storage. When something stirs the heart, fear, joy, wonder,
The amygdala signals the hippocampus, "This one is important. Keep it safe."
But in reverse, for things that are neutral, mundane, or routine, the amygdala stays quiet. And without that emotional ink, the brain sees no need to keep the record. The result? Most of our days fade gently into the soil of forgetting, not because they are meaningless, but because they were calm. And in that calm, the mind finds space to grow. Sleep, the night gardener. Now we must turn to the quietest, most vital helper in this process: sleep. Each night, as you drift into dreamless rest, the brain begins to sort, clean, and prune. It strengthens the synapses that matter, weakens those that do not, clears the neural waste, consolidates emotional events, and trims away the excess. Sleep is not idleness. It is the garden's sacred tending. It is the soft footsteps of a caretaker moving beneath the moonlight, deciding which thoughts to keep and which to return to the earth. Perhaps now, as you lie listening, your own mind is beginning this work. A memory you held today fleeting, maybe unnecessary, is being carried away gently, and in its place, space opens, silence returns. Peaceful forgetting. The blessing of not knowing. In a world that chases retention, it may seem strange to celebrate forgetting. But here, in this quiet hour, we recognize its blessing. To forget is to be renewed. It is to no longer carry every weight, to make room for mystery, to accept that not all that matters must remain. Sometimes what leaves us allows us to become. Like autumn leaves feeding the roots they once adorned, forgotten memories nourish the unseen depth of who you are. You are shaped not only by what you recall, but by what you have released. And perhaps, just perhaps, those forgotten memories are not truly gone. They have become the soil of your wisdom, the silence between your thoughts, the stillness in your soul. The world is quiet now. The moon glides through softened clouds. And within you, a curtain rises, unseen by the waking world. In sleep, we descend into the underlayers of consciousness. The body rests, still as stone, but the mind embarks upon a nocturnal voyage, sailing the seas of memory, stitching time and experience into images, sensations, fragments of narrative. Dreams, like soft lanterns, illuminate pieces of the self we didn't even know had wandered off. This is not the orderly archive of daytime memory, where we consciously file away what we wish to remember. No, the dream world is the theater of the subconscious, a stage where forgotten memories, suppressed emotions, and untended longings perform in soft disguises. You may dream of climbing endless staircases or watching waves rise over a quiet beach. But perhaps the staircase is your lost ambition, the ocean, your childhood fear. Perhaps the face in the dream was once beside you on a school bench, or briefly met your gaze at a railway station years ago. Even forgotten moments find their way back to you, not in words, but in moods, in colors, in sensations that say, "I once mattered to you, even if you do not remember my name." Sleep researchers have found that during REM sleep, the most vivid dream stage, the brain replays emotional memories in particular, but it often alters them, reframes them,
dissolves the sharp edges. It is here that the hippocampus hands its work to the neocortex, and memories shift from fresh clay into the cool glaze of long-term storage. Yet not all memories make it through. Some fade like fog. Others are simply never brought back into the light. But none are truly destroyed. Even forgotten, they are not gone. They live as shadows in the neural forest, soft echoes in the chamber of dreams. Some call dreams the brain's rehearsal hall, but in truth, they are also its memorial garden. Every now and then, a dream allows us to walk through that garden, to see the statues carved from moments we no longer remember, to feel, in silence, the breath of what once was. And so, tonight, as you drift further into slumber, know that your mind is not empty. It is alive with echoes. And in the dream world, the forgotten are not lost. They are simply waiting for a softer hour to speak. Close your eyes and picture a vast, silent library. There are no names on the shelves, no titles on the spines, and yet you know deep in your being, this is yours. In the deepest folds of your mind, beyond where thoughts rise and fall, beyond even dreams, there lies a realm where memory is not recalled, but simply exists, dormant but alive. This is the subconscious archive, the keeper of every fleeting glance, every unfinished thought, every moment you never paused to notice. It holds the echo of a lullaby you heard only once, the scent of your grandmother's curtains, the exact texture of rain on your skin from a day long buried by calendars and clocks.
Here, time does not move in lines. It loops, it overlaps, and it stores without judgment not only what you cherished, but also what you rejected, ignored, or forgot on purpose. Some memories never reach your conscious mind at all. They pass through the senses and sink quietly into this hidden sea, processed, stored, and filed in ways science is only beginning to understand. They influence your decisions, your fears, your dreams, and your instincts. This is why a scent can bring tears without reason, why a sound can pull your stomach tight in warning, even when your rational mind says there's nothing wrong. The subconscious remembers what the waking self has released. Psychologists have studied this effect for years, calling it implicit memory, a kind of learning that doesn't feel like remembering. It shows up in how you ride a bicycle, how you recognize danger, how you know a friend's voice from across a crowd. It is memory without awareness, wisdom without language. And though it is mostly invisible to you, it speaks all the time, in symbols, reactions, dreams, and gut feelings.
So if you ever feel guided by something you can't explain, if you ever pause mid-thought and sense a truth hovering nearby, know this. It is not mystery, it is memory, a silent whisper from the vaults within you, from the quiet librarian of your own hidden life. And tonight, as the stars soften and your mind wanders, you are walking through that archive, not to read, but simply to feel the presence of all you have ever touched, seen, felt, and let go. You are more whole than you know. You are more ancient than you remember. And beneath the quiet surface of sleep, you are listening to the memories that never asked to be remembered, but have always stayed. Breathe in slowly and feel the hush of a snow-covered forest at night. All is still, all is white. Yet beneath the frozen ground, life waits, quietly, curled in warmth and darkness. So too does your mind know how to wait, how to shield, how to protect itself from the weight of pain. Memory, though vast and luminous, is not without limits. When something hurts too deeply, when an experience arrives too early, too sudden, or too cruel, the mind sometimes wraps it in silence and places it far beneath the surface. This is repression, not forgetting, but choosing, without choosing, not to look. Unlike simple forgetting, repression is an active protection. It's your psyche's soft whisper. You don't need this right now, not yet. And so the memory is tucked away. Not gone, not erased, but sleeping. Some call it a defense mechanism. Others call it a wound wrapped in wool. It may return later, in dreams, in symbols, in flashes of emotion that seem to rise from nowhere. A shiver when someone speaks in a certain tone. An ache in the chest in places that should feel safe. These are ripples from a stone you never knew was dropped. And yet, repression is not betrayal. It is mercy. Your mind does not bury memories to deceive you. It does so to spare you, to let you grow strong enough to face what once broke you. There is an intelligence in forgetting, a kindness in not knowing everything at once. Some memories return when we are ready. Others stay forever beneath the surface, never rising, but still shaping the contours of who we are, like roots of trees beneath frozen lakes, unseen but steady. So as you rest now, know this: whatever your mind has chosen to set aside, it did so in love. You are not broken for not remembering. You are not lost for not understanding your sorrow. You are simply human, with a mind as gentle and wise as the stars that disappear behind clouds, only to shine again when the sky is still. Section 11. Dreams as doorways, when forgotten memories visit the night. Close your eyes and let your breath fall like soft waves against the shore. In the stillness of sleep, the world loosens, and something ancient begins to stir. This is the hour of dreams, when logic lays down its armor, and the subconscious begins to speak in symbols, shadows, and quiet winds. You may think your forgotten memories have vanished, but in dreams, they sometimes return, not as they were, but as they feel. A house you've never seen before, but somehow know. A face that flickers between strangers and someone you used to love. A moment that fills your chest with joy or fear or tears for reasons you cannot name. These are not accidents. These are echoes. Dreams are the language of the unconscious, soft and slow and steeped in metaphor. They hold the pieces of your life you didn't know were missing. Not in straight lines, not in clear stories, but in feelings that rise like mist from the forest floor. In a dream, a locked room may represent a part of yourself you haven't entered in years. A storm might be the voice of a memory still trying to speak, and a bird that won't stop flying may be the freedom you once knew or longed for.
the brain does not forget so easily. It simply speaks through different doors. Neuroscientists have found that the regions responsible for memory remain active even during REM sleep, when dreams are most vivid. Fragments of experience are reassembled like mosaic tiles, creating pictures that shimmer between what was and what we never dared imagine. Sometimes a dream gives back a feeling you had as a child, standing in golden light at the edge of summer. Other times, it may return a sound, a voice, or a fear, like wind brushing the curtains in a room long closed. But whatever dreams bring, they ask nothing of you, only to notice, only to feel. They are messages written in a script older than language, deeper than thought. So tonight, as your breath deepens and your body sinks into the quiet of the bed, know this: every dream you have ever had is your mind holding out its hand, gently, kindly, to help you remember what you didn't know you still carried. And in that space, you are whole. Even the forgotten parts of you are still singing. Breathe slowly now. Let the hush gather around you like a warm tide covering the edges of the day. You've drifted far, deeper into the mind's quiet places. There is a place within you, vast and unlit, where forgotten things go not to vanish, but to wait. The subconscious is not a void. It is an archive. Not cold shelves of facts, but a living memory mossed over by time. Here lie the names you once knew, the songs your grandmother hummed, the taste of a childhood dish you haven't thought of in decades. Stored not in words, but in feeling, in shadows of scent, and the rhythm of a lullaby only your bones remember. This is the deep library of the mind, a cathedral with no ceiling, where every experience is gently laid down, even those you thought were lost. And the caretakers of this place are quiet. They do not knock. They do not push. They simply tend the shelves of your life with the patience of trees. In this place, memories that once made you ache grow soft around the edges. They lose their sharpness, but not their truth. They become gentle ghosts, leaning against the walls of your mind's inner garden. The subconscious stores everything, not just facts, but fears, desires, impressions. The way a person looked at you once across a room. The way your hands shook when you let something go. Even the silence between words. Neuroscientists have shown that even when memories are inaccessible to the conscious mind, they can still influence behavior, mood, even your heartbeat. So if you feel something stir at a certain song, or find tears in your eyes for no clear reason, it may be one of those quiet archivists opening a drawer and letting a memory rise like smoke from old pages. The mind remembers even when it forgets. And in that remembrance, you are never truly alone. You are surrounded by a secret garden tended by time itself, a place where your story is always being kept, even in silence. So let go now. You don't need to chase what was forgotten. It's all still here, cradled in the folds of your dreaming self. Sleep knowing that nothing beautiful is ever truly lost. There's no need to search, no need to grasp or force. Some memories return not with noise,
but with a softness of mist touching skin. Healing, true, tender healing, is not about digging up every forgotten corner of the mind. It is about making the mind feel safe again, so what was hidden can come forward on its own. The brain is wise in its silence. It locks away what would overwhelm, what the heart could not carry when it was small, afraid, or not yet ready. But as time passes, and as we breathe through pain, as we speak aloud the truths we once held behind our teeth, something begins to change. The vault loosens. Not because we pry it open, but because we have softened the room around it. You see, memory lives in more than just the mind. It lives in the body, in how your shoulders rise when certain footsteps echo, in how your stomach turns when a familiar voice calls your name. Healing invites these echoes into the light, with gentleness, with care, not to relive the pain, but to soothe it, reframe it, rewrite the story you once had no words for. Therapists often speak of integration, not erasing the past, but giving it a place within the self where it no longer harms you. In this way, forgotten memories come back not to haunt you, but to complete you. A face from a dream, a phrase that stirs a tear, a sudden rush of warmth in the chest, as if a younger you has just been seen and finally believed. Sometimes it's not the memory itself that matters, but the emotion it brings with it, the chance to hold it with tenderness instead of fear. And sometimes, healing means letting those memories stay tucked away, knowing they are no longer wounds, but closed petals folded into the heart's quiet blossom. So let the subconscious unravel gently, like a ribbon in water. You do not need to fix it. You only need to be still enough for it to trust you again. With each night you sleep in safety, with each breath that tells your body, "I am home," you invite those hidden fragments to rest beside you, not as intruders, but as long-lost children returning to the hearth. And you, soft and steady, are ready to greet them. Let this be your healing hour, not one of effort, but of welcome. The forgotten has heard your voice. It remembers too. Close your eyes and drift into the quiet theater of your mind, where stories rise not from reason, but from something far deeper, older, and softly glowing.
Your memories do not only speak in words, they speak in symbols, in fragments, in the hush between thoughts. They slip into your dreams like actors on a hidden stage, cloaked in metaphor, wrapped in images that stir feelings before they stir understanding. A staircase that leads nowhere, a locked door, a house that is somehow yours, yet you've never seen it before. These are the quiet languages of memory, of meaning, of inner truths that wait in shadows, not to hide, but to be approached gently like deer in a forest clearing. When the conscious mind sleeps, the subconscious opens its arms, and in its arms are stories stitched from emotion and echo. You may dream of a childhood friend, but it's not really about them. It's about how you felt with them. Safe, seen, or perhaps forgotten. A dream is not nonsense, but night sense. It trades logic for feeling, and in so doing it remembers what your daylight mind cannot hold. Even the brain's neural networks engage differently in sleep. Your default mode network, which spins thoughts when you daydream, whispers more boldly when you're tucked into slumber. It pulls from every drawer in your memory's attic. Old sights, scents, emotions, and arranges them into surreal, expressive collages. And so, you might dream of water when your heart is seeking peace. You might dream of falling when your life feels unsteady. You might dream of flying when you're ready to move on from something long held down. Dreams are the subconscious drawing constellations from your forgotten stars. And every morning, you awaken from these symbols changed, though you may not know why. It is enough that your mind is tending to you, quietly, through story. Let your dreams tell their tale, even if it arrives in pieces, even if it makes no sense at all. Because somewhere, deep within, a truth is being whispered to you in the only language your heart understands. Tonight, let your dreams be the lullabies of memory. Let them sing in strange images, in stories without endings, in riddles only your soul can read. And know that even in sleep, you are remembering. You are listening. You are healing. You are home in your mind's own myth. As you float gently in the ocean of your mind, there comes a moment, a soft unfolding, when a forgotten memory quietly blooms. It does not burst forth like a storm, but rises slowly, like a bud unfolding in morning light. This memory, once tucked away in the hidden chambers of your mind, returns not to overwhelm, but to soothe.
It arrives wrapped in safety and calm, inviting you to see it anew, not as a wound, but as a part of your story, a petal in your garden. Sometimes these returns surprise you. Sometimes they arrive softly, like a whisper, a feeling of warmth, or a sudden smile without reason. They are gifts from your subconscious, reminding you that what was forgotten was never truly lost. The mind, in its infinite kindness, allows these memories to blossom again when you are ready to hold them gently. And with their return comes healing. You carry the memory now not as a burden, but as a quiet strength, a thread woven into the fabric of your being. So rest now, knowing that your mind holds you with care, and that forgotten memories find their way home, softly, gently, like petals unfolding in a peaceful dawn. Thank you for journeying into the silent depths of the mind with the Wandering Neuron. May your sleep be restful and your dreams kind.